Hello, folks. Welcome to the show. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a special guest today, Tim Cunningham from here in Fairview, local racer. Raced for about how many years?
From 93 to 99.
93 to 99. But first, we'll talk about a little the racing news. They had this weekend. They was going to have USCS race down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That got canceled, and so that's not going to happen this weekend. Too much chance of rain. So anyway, that's just about it. They had a NASCAR race at Atlanta, and I think that was one of the closest races. I didn't get to watch it, but they said it's one of the closest races in history. Yeah,
it was real good.
It was, yeah. And but anyway, Tim. So you said when you was a little kid, you went to Riverside Dragway.
Yeah,
over
Craig.
by Bellevue.
Sure did.
So
I enjoyed watching them drag cars. I really did.
So that was your first racing experience,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. I run into Steve Kennedy, and Steve and I worked together as iron workers, and Gwen and Bobby and Steve was all racing.
I didn't know that you and Steve worked together.
Oh, we did for years.
Yeah.
Years. We done a lot of work.
And did you go to races with Steve any, or?
Yeah. George, my stepfather, we started going with Steve and them, and went one time, and I was literally hooked on that dirt racing.
Yeah.
And that was like in 90, I'm gonna say 93, and I think George ended up buying Joey Hughes's car. I don't know if Steve owned it or Joey actually owned it. I know George bought it. He brought it one Saturday, but I think it was the next Saturday, and we was down there at the next racing.
So you went one time, you was hooked.
Yeah, I was hooked. I mean, that was the most, my adrenaline was just so high all the time.
Yeah.
When I got in that race car.
Yeah.
George said if I didn't throw up, I wasn't going to do no good. You know.
So you
adrenaline was pumping.
Yeah.
It sure was.
So how long did it take you to win once you got going and racing?
I think in 93 I finished third in the points. No, I'll take that back. I finished 10th in the points.
Yeah.
And then 94, I think I finished third in.
Now that was at Duck River, right?
That was at Duck River.
Yeah.
We done primarily raced at Duck River. I mean, that was our home track as far as we were concerned. It wasn't long after. Well, I think after the third place finish for that season, I think the next year was our first championship win.
So you won the championship next year?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And several others after that.
Yeah.
George had a motor system down that it was. If it was smoking a little bit, he didn't mind a little smoke coming out. He said that's when it run the best.
Yeah. You know? So y'all run, just tell our kind of fans, so y'all run mini stock class, right?
Yes, sir. Mini stock at Duck River, Hornwall, Winchester.
Yeah.
Somewhere else. Let's see. Winchester. Clarksville. Run up Clarksville with it. And everywhere we went, we seemed to come out on top.
Yeah.
You know.
So you ran a Pinto motor, right?
No, it always was. It was a Ford Mustang 2.3 engine. And George could really do some tricks to him.
Yeah.
He really had it going on.
Yeah. So in '93 you raced at Duck River, and then '94 you won the track championship. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure that was '94. It might have been '95, but I remember the last championship we won was in '99. I think that was the Hornwall championship.
Yeah. I remember we went up there at Hornwall, raced up there, and you was there at Hornwall. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah.
I had a sprint car up there.
How did I do?
Yeah.
How did I do? You remember?
I don't remember. I don't even remember how I done.
They had a vacuum rule there, and it was real tough to get past that vacuum rule on them carburetors. And you know, George had it figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how many races you think you won in your career?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. A bunch of them.
You did?
I mean, I think one year we won, I think we raced 21 races. I think I won 19.
You did?
That year. But, you know, and I had some good competition. Stanley James, Tony Patterson, which Tony's passed now. And he was really a good friend. Now, fought like cats and dogs at the track, but we were actually friends.
Now, did Bobby and Steve Kennedy, did they race in your class, or
No,
was they
no,
was
they was a class above me.
yeah,
Now,
like an outlaw,
I
pony
think
outlaw?
Gwen started in that class.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Steve's getting him some experience or something. Then immediately he moved up to Steve's class, and
Yeah.
man, they kicked some behind.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah. Did you ever travel any, like go to, so probably Winchester or Clarksville's about as far
Yeah,
away?
that's about as far as we went.
I know those guys went down to, I heard them talk about going to Phoenix City. They had a big race down there, a big mini stock race
Yeah.
every year.
They did.
And
They went down there, I think, twice.
Yeah.
Best to my knowledge, they went twice, and had some car issues. I think the first year, and I don't really know how they did the second time
Yeah.
they went.
yeah,
But I'd like to say no Bobby Stevens down there.
yeah, yeah,
Because he was a race car driver. Now Bobby was.
he was.
He was. He was a good driver.
Well, Bobby came over the other day, and he's been coming over every now and then since he retired. He came over the other day, and he brought this grocery bag. He said, "Here, you might like to look at some of this." And so I brought it in, and then that night when I went to bed, I started looking at it. Well, it's scrapbooks. I tell you, he's just like me when I was a kid. So he's got scrapbooks, like he cut out every article in the Banner Tennessean that was related to racing. It didn't make no difference if it
Bobby
was
saw
Indianapolis
Yeah.
or he had articles about A.J. Foyt, Richard Petty. This was in 1969, so Bobby had been 8 years old.
Yeah.
And so he's got all these programs and stuff, and I hadn't even started looking at them all. There's a program from Nashville, 1973. That's just mint condition, just like
Yeah.
like it
Isn't that
was when it was
something?
new.
Bobby, he went to a lot of races back in the day.
Yeah, he said his dad would go, and his dad would go down there to Phil Stillings' shop. I think it's Phil Stillings. It was across from Speedway, and they'd go like at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they'd hang out all day long, and then they'd take the car over there to the Speedway, and they'd go with him when he'd do that.
Right. Right.
So, but he had autographs, all ARCA drivers, guys that was racing when I was a little kid.
Sure.
So, Bobby is a race fan.
He is a race fan. But George was my engine builder, and
Now, there's your
he was
stepdad,
good.
right?
Yeah, that's my stepdad.
George Hargrove.
But we owe a lot of it to Steve and Gwen and
Yeah.
Mike. Even helped. Mike White actually helped us on some sheet metal work, and
Yeah.
we was all home boys, and
Yeah.
we all worked together.
Well, racing's a family.
It is.
It's
It
a
is.
family.
It really is.
Once you start racing and you make friends, they're just like your family.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like your brothers, And you go to races and everybody has a good time. And I know we went over at Steve's shop, and I tell you what, Steve built some good looking cars.
Oh yeah, he did.
back
He
in-
sure did.
That Camaro, that
When he
black
raced up at
Camaro,
Highland Rim,
Yeah.
he had some nice looking cars.
that black Camaro pictures
Real
it, man.
nice.
That thing was nice.
Yeah.
That was a good looking race car.
Well, I look at his daddy's car, what they done to his daddy's
Yeah.
old coupe.
Yeah.
Man, that's a heck of a car.
Yeah. Well, I like to kind of focus too on Fairview guys,
Local guys, yeah.
local guys, and just like you and Steve and Gwen Jones, and talk about you guys a little bit, because I think I mentioned this before, but I lived on Highway 96 between here and Franklin for 14 years, and I remember every Saturday afternoon about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you guys go down the road.
Heck yeah.
It'd be like
Ready
a
to go.
convoy. It'd be like
Ready
a
to go.
convoy. And sometimes I'd say that, well, they're going Duck River, I'm gonna go. I'd go watch you guys, And it's I just love racing, love talking about it, love talking about the history of racing, and I really appreciate you coming and being on the show today.
Well, we appreciate what you do for the community, especially not only Fairview, but just the racing community.
Yeah.
You don't just talk about the local boys, you fill everybody in on everything.
Well, I appreciate that. And, we want to thank all of our sponsors, Big Machine Spike Coolers, Anderson Concrete, Cabin Creek Log Homes, and You know, all race people need to support sponsors if they can. And folks, we appreciate you watching. And remember, like Ernest Tubb used to say, be good to your neighbors and you'll have good neighbors. Thanks a lot. See you next week.